Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to season 3 of the Living In Fullness podcast. I am your host, Naki, Hlomayi. So, Living in Fullness is excited because we are celebrating a year in 2024 March since we joined YouTube. It's been an incredible journey. It's been an amazing ride. We're so grateful for everybody who has been supportive of this Living in Fullness podcast, for everybody who's joined the family, who's liked, who's shared, who's interacted, the comments, the messages. We appreciate all that. It keeps us going and it gets us excited. It reminds us that, we are impacting and we did start a good thing. Living in Fullness is not just a podcast. It's a celebration of people's life stories. It's a celebration of people's life events. And we believe that nothing in life is a coincidence. Our traumas can trap us or they can shape us. There's a lot of things that have taken place in our lives that could impact other people. And hence you find we bring people from all spheres of the world, from every part of the globe. We've had people from Zambia, from Tanzania, from Uganda, from the United States, from the United Kingdom. We've had people from Ghana, and we continue to have people from all over the world. And that's just to show you that God is not limited by distance, by time. He is not limited by space. He's not limited by race, by color, or by our backgrounds, right? So it's just all about bringing people that have life stories that remind us of who God is and the fact that we each have a purpose, we have a calling. And God created each one of us for a reason. And it's nice when you get to that point where you're ready to speak about your test that has turned into a testimony. So yeah, it's just a reminder that no matter what you've gone through in life, be it big or small, it's here to shape us. So from people sharing tales of triumph, people being vulnerable with things that they've gone through, with their fears, and just what like some of the things that society has done that have sort of made people have fears, right? Or make people or men and women fail to sometimes coexist. So it's also just a reminder that on Living in Fullness, we're not limited to only females or males. We bring here both men and women because men and women are equal. They're just different, right? They are not the same and they're created to coexist. We need to pull from each other's strengths and sort of be able to realize our weaknesses and know who would be best for whatever it is that we're trying to achieve, right? And you know what's been more amazing? It's just seeing the comments, the likes, the shares. And I think I'll say this right now, right? When I started the podcast, it wasn't about the likes or the comments or how many people view or how many people acknowledge the podcast. I knew for sure that I got a word from God that I need to start the podcast. And it was about that one person who God wants me to start the podcast for. So even if God wanted me to start for that one person who comes and comments or writes in the DMs or sends an email and say, Naki, this episode really touched my heart. For me, that's all that mattered. It wasn't even about I'm not trying to make money off YouTube necessarily. I have a 9 to 5. And I think for me it's more about the impact Living in Fullness has on other people's lives. So from your careers to your marriages, to your finances, to your relationships with people, to the traumas that you've had, to how God took you out of that, to addictions. So we've spoken about so many topics that impact people's lives. And the aim is to actually look at topics that people rarely are able to speak about, right? So addictions, we're spoken about toxic masculinity, we're spoken about submission, a very difficult topic. So it's just a lot of things, spirituality, a lot of things. And I think just a reminder as well, as Living in Fullness, when we speak about spirituality, it's really coming from a Christian perspective, and the anchor is Christ. And we are not limiting Living in Fullness to only have a Christian audience. We want everybody from all sorts of religions to be able to listen and learn something, because ultimately we all go through something, and we all sort of need we do need to just hear other people share their life experiences around things that could be affecting us as well. So yes, the comments, the suggestions, the questions, It's been an incredible journey, just seeing some of the questions and statements that people put out there. Even some people also just comment, and the comments add value to what we were speaking about. For example, I'll just be putting like some of those comments on the screen just so that you see some of the amazing comments that we've received. So thank you everybody for interacting, and we just ask that you continue to interact and to support the podcast. And remember to put your suggestions. If you have certain things that you need us to change, or people that you also need us to reach out to and be able to speak to, please do let us know. And if you do have a story that you would want to share with our audience, please do send an email. The email is in the description box. And just lastly, I just want to remind some people around legacy, right? So at times when we speak about legacy, we think more about what am I leaving for my family? What am I leaving for my children? But legacy is also what are you leaving for other people that are around you, right? Be it people you work with, be it people you just meet, randomly, people from your church, people from your business, people that you just meet in all spheres of your life. What legacy are you leaving? When you're not here, what will people remember you for? Right. So it's just an important reminder to tell ourselves that we do need to remember to leave a legacy in all spheres of our lives, because there is something that God has called us to do, and we shouldn't shun away from hearing and heeding to God's voice. When God has asked us to do something, when you have that desire that keeps knocking on your door, you need to go for it and just ask God, when do you want me to start? How do you want me to do it? And trust me, He will respond. So when you have that desire knocking on your door, go for it. God has already equipped you. Yeah, so season three, what season three bringing you? So season three was, so I'm going to say this. When we're looking at seasons, it's never, we never necessarily plan what we want that season to have. We pray about it, and we just trust God that whoever we're bringing on, they will impact in one way or the other. But coincidentally, again, I don't believe in coincidence, but somehow season one had its own sort of topics, season two had its own sort of topics. And already with season three, we can see it's more tailored towards careers, it's more tailored towards the different callings that people have. It's more about people sharing about the corporate space, about the tough moments they've had growing up that sort of shaped who they are now. It's exciting and it's an incredible season. I really don't want to share so much and spoil it for you, but I'm looking forward to have each one of you listen up and comment and interact on our posts. So yes, everyone, thank you so much for being a part of our story, for being a part of Living in Fullness, and for just supporting us. It's exciting to just think of how far we've come in the year and how far we're going. And I think it's more exciting to think about the journey ahead. So thank you so much. And if it's your first time here, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. So what we did is we asked some of our season three guests to tell us what they think living in fullness means to them. And so that's how we're ending this video. We will have some of the season three guests just tell us what living in fullness is. And again, it's exciting to just see that somehow the definitions are quite similar, but they also seem very different and interesting. So please enjoy. Grab some popcorn.
For me, living in fullness means forsaking all other voices that are not of God and hearkening to His. Because that's where you become. That's where you behold Him, and you literally are transformed by beholding Him. Living in fullness is literally saying, I am trusting what you're doing in this season, in this pain, in this joy, and I'm going to walk according to that. And yeah, it's living in hope, man. It's literally, that.
To live in fullness for me is to live to God's expectations of you. And why that is important for me is because I was living to other people's expectations. But remember, if you create this mic and then it tells you that it wants to live, I think it's a Shure mic. If it tells me that it wants to live to the expectations of Amplify or of another brand, then that it's not living to its fullness, because only the one that created this brand knows what it's capable of, right? Because the other brand might be limiting its capabilities, while other brands might actually be stretching it even to the point where they might be tearing it apart. But the one that created the brand knows exactly what it's capable of. And for me, living to my fullness is now saying, who has created me? And what do they think I'm capable of? And that's all I care about. Because to think anything above that is pride, but also to think anything below that is pride, because I think I know better than the one that created me. I don't.
Having a holistic life where there is fullness of life that gives you peace. Not that has you in a rat race, not that has you in a state of depression, anxiety, but where you are on track at your own pace, your own destination, your own focus, and knowing deep down that for this time, this is where I'm supposed to be. And there's alignment with where I want to be.
Living in your purpose. And it's so sad for me when I hear people go, purpose, I'm running after my purpose. The only person who gives you purpose is Jesus. The only place where your purpose resides is Jesus. So somebody said it like this, wherever God calls you, that's the safest place you'll be. You know? So it's sad for me when people are trying to figure this whole life thing out without God, because I'm just like, He made you. Where else are you going to get a better, vision for your life, purpose for your life, direction than the guy who made you? Like, it doesn't make sense, So living in fullness is just that, living connected to Jesus.
In fullness. It means engaging with your own humanity first and foremost. It means being very ethical towards you and making sure that, because, there is a saying, you can't give what you yourself lack. Okay. So if we don't treat ourselves with compassion, kindness, empathy, and generosity, we can't give those things. So for me, that is, first of all, do no harm to yourself before you don't do harm to others.
I would say living in fullness means to really live out your purpose and really stay true to yourself in your morals and your values, and just really be consistent with yourself and be true to yourself. Because fullness is such a heavy word for me to, I don't know, it encompasses so much, but I feel like really just being true to who you are and staying true to your values and your boundaries